Welcome to Storm Lake High, home of the Tornadoes. We're a small-town school where music is a big deal. Mr. Tollefson is our choir director. He's more like a General Patton moving his army.
Step this way, ladies, 1 foot. Turn around, turn towards that outside wall, kick those flip-flops off, knees up, get off those risers.
My style of teaching is direct. There are people that are offended by it, but I tell the kids I'm never going to lie to them, and I'm not really going to sugarcoat anything.
I don't know what you want. Go feel sorry for yourself. Think I'm the meanest guy in the world. I don't care.
Mr. Heron is our band director. He's new at this, the kind of teacher who tells you something and then expects the best.
Getting kids motivated to come in the morning, you really got to start hitting them early with how important this performance is and how big it is and why we're doing things. You got to kind of get them to buy into the philosophy of what we're trying to accomplish. You need to take ownership in this group and do the work.
Mrs. Peterson is our orchestra director. She's the quiet leader, carefully observing and meditating on every movement of our orchestra.
I tend to be a low-pressure teacher. I tend to work with them where they're at.
I need more bottom on all those chords. How many of you are playing the open note? Just honk them out.
Although our three directors have their own unique style, they manage to work together as a team, which rubs off on us. They always help us take our performance to the next level.
We want them to enjoy being part of this department and feel that they are a vital part and want to be here.
One of the things I think we teach kids at the high school and through the district is set a level of excellence. And if you can't reach that, then enjoy it, but find something else to be really good at.
The directors always tell us that the band, orchestra, and choir are not separate. We're one department, one family, one group that sticks together.
I think the Storm Lake music program is outstanding because we work together. I taught in Oklahoma and I taught in Louisiana. I've never been part of such a unified music group. And that is wonderful, and who benefits the most from that are our students.
Sticking together and working as a team is going to be more important than ever this year, as we travel across the country to compete at Festival Disney, a competition where the best high school music groups gather to compete and find out who's the best of the best. This is a big year for us.
You're going to have a great year. And these trip years are big. They're exciting. And a lot of work. Okay, so we need to just kind of go for the ride. It's probably the most rewarding experience you'll honestly get in high school.
This is the story of our high school music trip. From the moment it was decided that the band, choir, and orchestra were going to travel to Walt Disney World to perform and compete, everything we did during the year was calculated. The music is introduced to us in October, right after marching band season and All-State.
We're going to start by sight reading an easy piece called Scheherazade by Rimsky-Korsakov. It has long bows, a lot of notes on one bow. So you must move your bow how? Fast? Slow, very, very slow.
I started looking at music last spring, just kind of getting an idea of what we want to play, and I found some that I thought would fit our ensemble quite well.
Lacrimosa is a movement. It's movement number 7 out of Mozart's Requiem. Okay? All right, let's do some diction. Lacrimosa.
Preparation for the trip actually began before we even knew what pieces we were playing.
We are having a beach party tomorrow night as the kickoff to the school year for the music department. It's not a big fundraiser, but it's a big event because you get to meet people that support you.
It is up to us and parent volunteers to set up the beach party. Mr. Tollefson doesn't hesitate when it comes to giving us orders.
Go. Pick this up, turn it around, right where you're at. Around. Right there. Perfect. I need that knot here. You have to go all the way down.
Everything's going according to plan until some storm clouds roll in, something we're far too familiar with. We've been rained out the past 2 years.
Tragic. It'll be tragic if it rains. Did you feel the temperature drop? That's not a good sign either.
It started to rain, and we wondered if there was even going to be a beach party this year. Our fundraising for the year would not be off to a good start. As quickly as the storm rolled in, though, the sky began to clear up.
Look, it's almost over, guys.
The beach party was back on track.
It's gonna be a little interesting. I'm gonna need you. Yes. Grab a towel. Yeah. I need some of you to get the tables. Do the tops of the tables first. To Orlando in March. So we thank you for coming out.
The beach party is not the only time we called on the community for support. In October, we had our first waffle breakfast, which is my favorite fundraising event, even though we have to be there at 6 a.m.
We had to wait down by the loading dock for a good hour, half hour for the waffle guy to get here.
The waffle breakfast is our first kind of big fundraiser.
Oh, today I hope to make over 1,000 waffles today. We usually serve between 700 and 800 people. About 35% of them come back for a second waffle.
The community was out in full force, and they were all hungry for waffles. The breakfast was a success, and we were that much closer to Florida, but we still had one more fundraiser to go.
The fruit and cheese sales for the Storm Lake community has probably been more than 30 years. It's built and built and built till the community expects the fruit and cheese sales. And so that is the most wonderful part of it.
We guarantee fresh fruit, and that's why we get so much business every year. The community likes this fundraiser. If you go out and pound on doors, you will get sales. But you're going to have to go out and do the work.
Hi, my name is Don Halverson, and I'm selling fruit and cheese for the Storm Lake Music Department. Would you like to order some?
You're selling cheese? Fruit and cheese.
And
what
candy.
kind of fruit?
Selling door to door is the easy part. Things get complicated when the piles of fruit and cheese arrive in December.
The fruit comes in and the candy and the cheese on a big semi-truck, and they have to unload it, and more often than not, it's a miserable, miserable day. They're standing in snow, or it's raining, or whatever, and we make the band room into a giant refrigerator.
730 clementines, 133 20-pound boxes of navel oranges, 27 boxes, 40-pound boxes, I believe, of red apples, 23 of gold apples, 54 boxes of 40-pound navel oranges, over 70 boxes of 40-pound grapefruit, I believe.
And usually we have to sort some of the fruit because fruit can go bad. So they sort through every box and then they make mixed boxes.
Just sorting, making sure they're not rotten, replacing them. Whatever Tollison tells us to do.
As the fruit and cheese got picked up and delivered, rehearsal rooms began to return to normal.
Oh, it's a success.
Between the beach party, waffle breakfast, raffle tickets, and fruit and cheese sales, it became apparent how supportive the community was of our trip. It seemed like they wanted us to go to Florida as bad as we did. Our December concert was our way of saying thank you to all the people who supported us.
These people have been here since 6:15. They're waiting till 7:30 to hear you. Did you do that?
At the concert, we had the opportunity to play some of our Florida music, which was good practice. We also got some practice in being responsible and prepared for concerts.
Let's see, I had a mother call me at home and her son didn't have a shirt or a pair of shoes. So I had to immediately come find those. let's see, we've given out 3 shirts, and I had to take home a pair of pants to get them fixed by tonight.
Performing at Walt Disney World is definitely going to be magical. But there is also a certain kind of magic in performing in a high school gym that's packed full of all your family and friends who support you.
All right, listen up. So we will start with Sawyer, and he will weave around to the end. And then the last one is Kieran.
It's much more important to perform in front of the community. They're your base. If they don't support you, why would you care what a judge thinks?
It's a good night to get out. It's the first time all 3 of us perform together. As you know, we are going to Florida. This will be our 4th trip going down to Florida. And in doing so, we try to hold special fundraisers.
Community support is vital. It's the community and their contributions, the fruit and cheese sales, waffle sales, beach party, raffle ticket sales. If I didn't have them helping us, there is no way that we could do this. And I would much rather please the community than the judge.
I told the kids, I said, we're shooting for our best performance at this concert. We're not just gonna, say, oh, it happens along the way of our preparation for Florida. We're gonna prep that concert like we're performing in Florida.
For the final song of the night, we invited anybody and everybody in the gym to join us for a performance of the Hallelujah Chorus.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Your support is overwhelming. Come on, sing the Hallelujah Chorus with us.
The concert went well, and we got a standing ovation, but we still had a long way to go before we were ready to perform in Florida. From here on out, every rehearsal would be absolutely critical.
Well, there's a lot of extra practicing on the trip year. We only go one every 4 years, and so the preparation is much more intense that year.
We put in a lot of hours, and a lot of hours at night that a lot of people don't see. Some of us go early in the mornings. You're just trying to get at the kids whenever they're available.
This is great to have a band that regularly rehearses at 6:45 in the morning. You guys are all here at 6:45 every morning, right?
They may be tired, but they get here, and we just got to hold them accountable for showing up on time and doing the rehearsal. I remember standing in front of them one day saying, hey, I bet we're going to have another 3 days off of school. We need to just plan for that. And we need to pretend that every rehearsal could be our last rehearsal before we go. And so we need to get the most out of every one of them.
Hey, guess what? Bad weather's coming, so we need to plan and just prep like we might only get 2 rehearsals in this week. Because if it's supposed to be as bad as they say, that might be all we get in this week. Okay?
Extra rehearsals became a very normal occurrence. We lost a lot of practice time to the snowy winter weather that we needed to make up for. Before we could go to Florida, we had to prove ourselves and our knowledge of the music by going through checkoffs.
They make charts for us, and then we have to check off the songs that once we go through them with him or Mrs. Fells, we check them off so he knows that we know them. And then you can see here the blank spaces are the songs that people don't have checked off. And so the goal by the time the concert comes around is that every column is filled. But sometimes that doesn't happen.
You're going to wake up and focus.
Get ready. Get your hand in the right place.
Bottom 41 of the altos at G. That down, we just went through it. Start learning just a little bit faster.
Don't be afraid of the space in the short notes. We want to push ahead too much.
You're getting behind. Holy smokes, we're supposed to be done and happy.
Despite extra rehearsals, the music was not going along as well as planned.
We are now less than 6 weeks away, and right now we wouldn't take this group and the music to Newell or Fonda or Early, let alone to a national competition. The thing is, folks, and I don't think you understand it, We cannot afford rehearsal time to teach you the music. You've got to learn the music, then we'll spend our time balancing, honing, doing the musical stuff, the phrasing. We'll put it together. The New York Philharmonic, the Chicago Symphony, the Vienna Philharmonic rehearses. Why do they rehearse? When they've got the world's finest musicians sitting out there, the absolute cream of the crop, the best. Why do they have to rehearse? Who can tell me? You have to put it together. You have to have a similar style. You have to bow in the same part of the bow. You have to get the balance right. That's why they rehearse. They don't rehearse to learn the music. That's the situation. We have been in before. We've been able to let you learn the music here. Now, with 40 days, bad weather, and everything else that's going on, we can't afford that. Now you have to get your instruments home. You have to learn the music, and then we spend the time putting it together. Then we go to Florida. We're all smiles. Everybody's confident. We know we can do it. It's a lot of fun. But it's not a lot of fun until you start doing the work.
If we're going to go and not perform at the level that is our best, why go? It goes back to the same thing we're trying to teach them on non-trip years. Either do it well or don't do it. And we came to an agreement the first trip, and we've held to it since. If the band students decide, it's not that important to me, and the band director came and said, my kids aren't working hard enough and they're just not going to put what it needs, then the rest of us don't go.
What are you afraid of? Failing? So fail. Take it on the chin. We'll pick you up and we'll try it again until it's right. Now that's nice. Now you sound dynamite.
We worked and worked and worked until all of our hard work started to pay off. Everything started to click. We were ready. It was time to go to Florida.
I'm here to tell you I think we can do it.
We are getting ready to go to Florida.
Before we head out, they're going to check to make sure we all have extra insurance cards. We all have a photo ID. And then we're going to go have like a miniature last minute meeting, and we're going to get our packets. They're going to have all the stuff we're doing.
Here's what you're going to do.
The meeting in the cafeteria is very simple. It's basically a quick double check of, this is what you need, do you have it?
Make sure that you have money. If you do not, would you please tell me now? Don't tell us down in Florida. Do you all have an itinerary?
We're trying to make sure they don't bring any illegal items.
We have a big man.
I feel like a TSA agent.
When you're moving 200 people, you've got to have organization and efficiency, or else you're just not going to make it happen.
Every time we reload the bus, we're going to have to count off. You each have a number. Thank you, JD. You each have a number. So be ready to shout the number out loud so I can hear it.
Those buses will hold in sound, folks. We don't have time to be searching around for someone if we don't have to.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, it's not going to be loud enough on a bus.
All right, start again, go.
Counting to 10 is usually pretty easy, but it seemed to get difficult when we had to yell and count as a group.
42. You're going to go in, you're going to get your carry-on. Look in your packet, you have an assigned seat on there. I want you to start in there so we can take roll from there. Then when we get on the road, we'll let you move around a little bit. Go get them.
It is very exciting. Everyone is really ready.
After packing our stuff and moving around all morning, we were ready to sit down and relax on the bus. At that point in time, the 30-hour bus ride sounded like the best thing in the world.
We're going to Disney World!
It was way too much.
In order to survive the 30-hour bus ride, everybody had to come up with their own game plan.
I plan on listening to podcasts, reading books, and sleeping as much as I possibly can.
It's gonna be insane because I got this.
Game Boy.
I'm gonna Game Boy it out.
We are stopping for lunch.
Hold you over until breakfast?
No!
Delicious.
As time went along, we began to realize how long a 30-hour bus ride really was. Monotony took hold and boredom set in.
Horrible. Terrible. Worst thing I've ever done in my life.
I'm tired. I want to shower. I'm tired.
We're gonna keep driving. Gonna have lunch and we should get there about like 6 p.m.
We slowly made our way across the country, and when we hit the Florida state line, we could finally see the light at the end of the tunnel.
When that first bus came up and I put my arms up, it's just like, yes, we did it. Oh my God, they're actually here.
When we arrived at the hotel, Mr. Tollison had everything already organized for us.
Blue's there. Green's down here. Yellow. Blue.
Jay Grant, right here. Can we take these buttons now?
The instruments here, then the dresses are going to go right here. So, they're going to go up to their room, they're going to come back down, we're going to unpack their luggage, they'll be patient. Pizza party's at 7.
After a long bus ride, we were just glad to finally be at the hotel.
It was horrible, but now we're like gonna chill out.
We celebrated our arrival in Florida by eating pizza, swimming, and just hanging out. It was good to finally be there. The next day, the fun would continue as we would get our first taste of the Disney parks.
Have fun!
We're at Disney World.
This trip is so wonderful because you have to focus and perform twice. Then you have days when you just goof off. So it wouldn't be the same trip if you just went to have fun. You wouldn't gain as much. And you wouldn't gain as much if you just went to perform.
They want to go to the haunted house, and then we got to make it back to Space Mountain in time.
Pirates of the Caribbean, went on the Haunted Mansion, the Big Thunder, Railroad Mountain.
We rode on Splash Mountain and the Pirates of the Caribbean.
For St. Patty's Day celebrations. Where are your ears?
We haven't got our ears yet.
How can you be here and not have your ears?
It's like a parade. We're watching the parade.
After having fun in the parks, it felt like forever since we touched our instruments or sang. We came to Florida to perform, and our performance at Disney's Magic Music Days helped us get refocused.
Not just notes on the page anymore, folks. So have fun.
It was great to see the kids after a couple days of play and having fun. They just kind of snapped into performance mode.
We're gonna do awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Disney Magic Music Days is pleased to present Storm Lake High School Concert Choir.
The orchestra was the last group to perform, and they had some obstacles to overcome.
We did not have a warm-up room for Magic Music Days, and that was very tough. It was very cold, and the kids had to get out their instruments on the bus and on the sidewalk, and we had to tune with buses running right next to us, and so it was very stressful.
Despite the conditions, the orchestra persevered and got through their performance. We were pleased with how we played, but we all knew that we could do better. We needed to regroup before our biggest performance of the year. So the next day, we went to the beach to relax.
They dug a deep hole, they thought I was the shortest, so they decided to bury me.
While we were building sandcastles and working on our tans, Mrs. Peterson was back at the hotel preparing for Festival Disney.
I just need a day to be quiet and dark and out of the sun and out of the noise and kind of collect myself. But you are right, I did put a note in everybody's folder. I did write a note to them about how we can do this because they were very worried and shook up after the performance at the park. And so I did write them a note and say we can do this.
We returned to the hotel early that night to get a good night's sleep. The competition was the next day, and we had to be up at 4:30 a.m. Up at 4:30, we began to prepare for our contest day, the real reason for our trip.
Well, I'm eating an apple at 5:15 in the morning.
The reason why we came is contest. Everybody got what they need?
It's food. Yeah.
All right.
We packed up our gear as we got ready to head to Disney for the performance. We were all dressed and focused. Today was the day that would define a year's worth of work. Were we ready?
We are in the warm-up room right now for our actual performance. This is it. This is what we've been working for.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our Festival Disney stage, from Storm Lake, Iowa, under the direction of Carol Peterson, the Storm Lake High School String Orchestra.
Orchestra went pretty well. It was really fun up there. Now I'm getting ready for band.
Are we ready? Yeah! Let's go!
The choir performance was at Saratoga Springs, so we all loaded the buses and headed over to their performance.
I think we practiced hard and we gave it our best. And whatever we get is what we get.
With the Festival Disney performances out of the way, all 160 of us made our way to the awards ceremony as a group to find out the results. We had spent months preparing for the performances, and we knew that we had done our best. Now it was up to a small group of judges to decide whether our best was good enough. Were we good enough? We soon found out.
When we were going down, I knew we were going to play well. We were prepared, so I was my expectation was that we were going to get a superior rating unless something major happened.
I don't like taking second place. I like being first.
When we were waiting for the results to be announced, time seemed to stand still. After what seemed like forever, the awards started to roll in.
With a rating of Superior, the Storm Lake High School Concert Choir. With a rating of Superior, the Storm Lake High School Concert Band. The best in class this evening going to the Storm Lake High School Concert Band. With a rating of Excellent, the Storm Lake High School String Orchestra. Outstanding performances by Hannah Hunter. Silver award for concert choir going to Storm Lake High School. Gold award, Mickey. The big one for concert band category going to the Storm Lake High School.
We left the awards ceremony in high spirits and headed back to the buses for another 30-hour bus ride. This time, we were heading home. When school started this year, the Florida trip seemed so far away, and now it was coming to a close.
You plan and you think and you cogitate and you connive and you do everything to make this trip fine, and then it's over.
So what did we take from it? I think that just depends on who you ask. I mean, we got to perform at Disney, and we won some awards, but it ended up being about more than that. For a whole week, we got to see and experience the world with 160 of our closest friends.
I enjoyed the kids thoroughly, having fun at the pool, eating, enjoying things, knowing that all their hard work had paid off and that they were actually reaping the benefits of that. I mean, when it came to the contest and when it came to the performances, these kids were magical. They just turned it on. They knew why they were there. But at the same time, when it was time to have fun, they had a lot of fun, and I truly enjoyed that.
Probably the most amazing thing that I experienced was watching the kids. And watching the kids react to the different things that they were exposed to, whether being at Disney World and watching their eyes just light up as they went on rides and talking about all the fun that they had and the new friends that they made. I mean, you saw groups, we left with small groups of kids that hung out together. But then as the week went on, you saw those small groups merge into larger groups, and you saw kids hanging out with each other that maybe didn't hang out beforehand. And when we came home, and they had a whole new network of friends. And so watching them interact with each other and take in the experience was well worth it.
When we got back to the high school, exhausted and ready to sleep, one thing was for sure: we couldn't have done it alone.
Troubled, feel you can't take much anymore, and when you're tired, feel you can't weather one more storm. Look up and see, I've got you and you've got me. We're all in this together. Oh, 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 oh. We're all in this together. Oh, 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 oh. We're all in this together. When the world caves in, we're all in this together. When you can't take much more on your own again, we're all in this together. Together, together. We're all in even try to do it alone, 'cause you've got friends here. We'll travel down the road even though it may seem unclear. We made it this far, so who can stop us? Nobody at all. We're all in this together. Oh,